I'll let in all the members of the public that were in the waiting room for the regular New Brunswick Board of Education monthly board meeting. It is now 7:04 p.m., and I will turn the meeting over to President Solis in order to begin the board meeting. Mrs. Solis?
Thank you so much, Mr. Janarone. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for calling in this evening. The regular scheduled monthly Board of Education meeting will begin now. Adequate public notice of this meeting was provided by the Secretary of the Board on May 22nd, 2020 to the Home News Tribune and the Clerk of the City of New Brunswick. The time and location of this meeting and all meetings of this body are posted in City Hall, 78 Byard Street, New Brunswick. Roll call, Mr. Janarone.
Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Here.
Mrs. Seawood?
Here.
Ms. Sevilla?
Here.
Mr. Kitis?
Here.
Mr. Spencer?
Here.
Ms. Varela? Ms. Varela? It's likely Ms. Varela. I know she was on the line. Dr. Caldwell?
Here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Ms. Varela.
Okay, here.
Thank you. Mrs. Solis?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Janarone. We'll do the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. This is a reminder that the next regular monthly Board of Education meeting will be held on Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021, beginning at 7 p.m. via audio conference call. Item number 3, if I could please have a motion to accept the minutes from the December 15th board meeting.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion from Mrs. Seawood. I think that was a second from Mrs. Sadowski, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, Mrs. Ortiz?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood?
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla?
Yes.
Mrs. Titus?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Ms. Varela?
Yes.
Dr. Caldwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Solis?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item number 4, the superintendent's report. Dr. Johnson?
Yes, good evening. For the month of January, we have enrolled 9,786 students. For the month of December, we had 1 case of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Our staff attendance was at 97%. Our student attendance was at 89%. I just want to kind of start off by, just in the state of our nation. Speaking both as an American and a man of color, I feel compelled to comment on what our nation has experienced during the past 2 weeks. I've spent significant time pondering everything that has transpired, and I'm still sifting through a jumble of emotions related to watching violence that occurred at the U.S. Capitol. At various times, I've been furious, I've been sad, exhausted, mystified, anxious, and disgusted. But at the same time, I was not surprised. And I know people here in New Brunswick, including the students in our school, are experiencing many of the same feelings. How will this crisis be resolved? How will my own emotions settle themselves? In both cases, I will need to wait and see. We are wiser and more courageous than that and we are deeply committed to the principles of equality and justice. In the meantime, we're working with our school administrators to create a safe space for our students to have conversations regarding the unfortunate events and to make room for some sense making. I had the opportunity to participate in a group discussion with high school students, guidance counselors, teachers, and administrators. And I tell you, I was inspired by the conversation. I was so inspired by the students' critical lens and how they were able to speak from their vantage points. And I could just say to us that I feel okay. I know our students will be okay. We just need to continue to arm them and give them the tools necessary to see things critically so they can make informed decisions and see the world in which they live. Our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction, Virginia Lacos Hill, and Principal Nadine Sanchez have provided suggested resources for our students to use during this critical time, which again, we hope will make our students better understand the world that they now live in. This past Friday, I sent communication to all district staff and parents regarding our updated extended timeline for reentry. Out of an abundance of caution, we'll postpone our reentry to schools for in-person instruction to limit the potential spread of the virus within our district and surrounding communities. Our decision to postpone reentry is due to the rising cases in Middlesex County and the delays in the distribution of the coronavirus vaccines. Our plans are now as follows. We plan to reopen elementary schools with grades pre-K through 8 for staff on March 15th and on March 22nd for our middle school and high school staff. We plan to reopen elementary schools for in-person learning for grades pre-K through 8 students on April 12th, and then on April 19th, we will plan to open for our middle school and high school students. In the meantime, entry to school buildings should be at a minimum, and everyone must follow the district mandatory face mask, social distancing, and health screening policy. Buildings are not closed to staff, and essential personnel are expected to continue to follow their normal work schedule. So if there are staff that would like to come into the building to teach from their classrooms, the buildings are open. We will continue supporting our students' nutritional health with our meal delivery program. All 10 meal pickup locations will remain open on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 11 to 6 p.m. Our device depot will also operate under their regular schedule. Again, as always, and I thank the board for their due diligence and the many conversations we had over the past 2 weeks. We will continue to follow the guidance of the Center of Disease Control to reduce the risk of the COVID spread, and we will continue to monitor the spread of the virus and make needed adjustments when necessary. On February 2nd, we will begin to implement our hybrid schedules for grades K through 12 in order to smoothly pivot from virtual to hybrid learning when students are set to return in April. Schedules will continue to provide our students with opportunities to speak their voice during SAL periods in all our schools. On December 17th, we held a parent university session with focus on a detailed review and overview of our OnCourse Connect parent portal. Participants were able to learn how to access their child's schedule, attendance, and grades. And if anyone would like additional information on the OnCourse Connect presentation and any upcoming sessions, please visit our district website. The next parent university sessions are scheduled for January 27th and 28th. The session on January 27th is for parents and guardians to review how to access and utilize Google Classroom to help their child navigate classwork that is assigned to them. Our session on January 28th is for parents and guardians to review preschool and kindergarten technology resources in order to enhance their virtual instruction and work collaboratively with parents to help their children from home. As a reminder, we have released our mobile communication app. It integrates directly with our existing website and social media platforms and will be available to anyone who wishes to stay connected to the New Brunswick Public Schools. This app is also a great way to receive daily updates and notifications from the district and from schools. Again, more information is available on our website and also being shared by our schools. And just to close, finally, I just would like to acknowledge the strong partnership between my cabinet and the executive leadership of New Brunswick Board of Education Association, NBEA. Ms. Arrington has been part of the planning, monitoring, and communication process since we began this virtual instruction. Through her partnership with her and her executive leadership team, we have been able to continue to serve the needs of our students and staff in a way that's educational sound and scientifically safe. Thank you, and that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. If I could please have a motion to accept the superintendent's report.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Mr. Ortiz,
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood,
Yes.
Mr. Villa,
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis,
Yes.
Mr. Spencer,
Yes.
Ms. Varela,
Yes.
Dr. Caldwell,
Yes.
Mrs. Solis.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item number 5, the student representative report, Ms. Kalani Nemhard.
Give me 1 minute to unmute Ms. Nemhard. I think Ms. Nemhard may have difficulties again. How about if we come back to that report?
Okay, we can do that. We'll move on to item number 6, the facility committee report. Mr. Spencer?
Yes, Madam President. The preparation is continuing in all the schools for the reentry plan. We have officially closed on the Lincoln Annex School. We're moving forward on the next phase, which I will provide further information on the school's progress. I would like to add, this has been an arduous process in completing the building of 50 Jersey Avenue School, which required an inordinated amount of time and commitment to the fruition become a plan. I have been a board member for many years and experienced the building and additions to our schools and administrative offices. All these developments were brought through by the diligent hard work of my fellow New Brunswick Board of Education colleagues, superintendents, administration staff, Mayor of New Brunswick, City Council, Middlesex County Board of Freeholders, State of New Jersey, New Brunswick Development, DEFCO, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Hospital, Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey, St. Peter's Diocese of Metuchen, social service programs, and most of all, our students, parents, and the entire New Brunswick community who made it possible to have another state-of-the-art school, which we will continue to provide excellent service to our students. Everyone aforementioned is responsible for the construction of 50 Jersey Avenue School. And through everyone's concerns for various reasons during the planning process, the one thing that is paramount, everyone wanted the best school for our students. I am proud to be a member of the board. We have made and will continue to strive for the best for our students. We have performed outstanding work together, sacrificing our time and efforts to make New Brunswick Public Schools the pride of New Jersey and the United States. I may be stretching it, but it's the truth. I would like to add one thing. I would like to recognize my friend and brother, Mr. Calvin Gurrell, who passed away this Sunday. Calvin worked in the school as a security officer. Calvin was a kind and thoughtful and humorous person. He will be missed, but not forgotten. Madam President, this concludes my report.
Thank you for your thorough report, Mr. Spencer. May he rest in peace. We will move on to item number 7, the Athletic Committee report. Mrs. Sadowski.
Thank you, Madam President. The Athletic Committee met earlier this afternoon, and we went over dates for winter sports. Just note that winter sports are on a day-to-day basis. If there is any further outbreaks or the numbers continue to elevate, it will be discussed. Right now, basketball and bowling have started their practice. Competition for basketball is scheduled for the 27th. Our teams are practicing outside. Winter track and field practice is scheduled for February 1st, and competition starts on February 16th. Girls volleyball and wrestling practice starts on March 1st, and competition begins on March 16th. There will be no GMC championships or state championships. There is a possibility that if we get through the season, there will be small 4 teams to each competition, like a tournament game, but there will be no state championships. All COVID protocols will be followed. They will be wearing masks on the sidelines. Their chairs, they will not be sitting on benches. They will be sitting on chairs spaced 6 to 8 feet apart. Everything will be sanitized. There will only be the home team, the visiting team, the referees who are sent to us by the state of New Jersey, actually the NJSIAA, and the people that run the clock, and an announcer. That will be it. We will be live streaming the games, so we will be able to watch in the comfort of our home. Unfortunately, there will not be any spectators allowed in the gym. That's why we need to support our team by watching the live stream. Everything will be at the bowling alley. All the COVID protocols are being followed, and I know that they are holding adult leagues in the early morning. 40 athletes were tested for COVID on Saturday with very good results, and our Play It Smart still remains virtual, and the playing in a game still remains. If you do not attend your virtual Play It Smart study hall, you will not play. Our goal here is academics first, athletics second, but we also want to give our students with this winter season a chance to be away from the computer for a while and to just get out there and enjoy themselves. Let's see what else. That's pretty much about it. First home game is, I think, as I said, the 7th. Our first few games are away. There will be temperatures taken. They will be pre-screened according to the district guidelines. And I think that's pretty much it, except for anticipating, hopefully, a full spring schedule. And I just wanted to also comment, like what Mr. Spencer just talked about, Calvin Gurrell. Calvin and I met on my first day at New Brunswick High School. We sat next to each other in homeroom. I consider Calvin to be one of my favorite NBHS classmates, and he had a beautiful singing voice. You could not find somebody with a bigger heart of gold than Calvin Gurrell, and I just hope he really rests in peace, and he will forever be missed. And going forward, I do need a motion to accept the bank reconciliation for December.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I'll take a roll call. Mr. Ortiz,
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood,
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla,
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis,
Yes.
Yeah.
Spencer,
Yes.
Ms. Varela,
Yes.
Dr. Caldwell,
Yes.
Mrs. Solis.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you, Mr. Generone. Item number 8, the Curriculum and Policy Committee report. Mrs. Seawood?
The Curriculum and Policy Committee met last week, and I guess the first thing we discussed was the Black Lives Matter Year of Purpose. We had announced this, I think, a couple of months ago. So we had, Ms. Hill had said she would give us an update. The Curriculum and Instruction Department continues to be intentional about culturally responsive teaching in New Brunswick public schools. This year, they are honoring the Black Lives Matter at School Year of Purpose initiative through a variety of monthly activities, lessons, and resources. To start the year, the Humanities Department has prepared developmentally appropriate resources to support the Queer Affirming Initiative for January, which also aligns to the New Jersey legislature mandating the inclusion of LGBTQIA+ voices in schools. As I understand it, the teachers and the students have benefited from this expanded curriculum and do plan to continue throughout the year. And as usual, Dr. Johnson has covered everything else we talked about. The Washington, D.C. events, we spent some time reviewing how the district is supporting our students, and resources have been shared with all staff. So I think the whole country, if not was traumatized, they should have taken pause to think, because in my lifetime I never would have dreamed that we would see this. So I'm sure the students have a lot to say about it. So I'm so glad Dr. Johnson and the Curriculum and Instruction Department is helping them process these events. We commend the department for the Parent University that continues to meet, as well as the Bilingual Parent Advisory Committee. So they have been getting instruction in terms of using our online portals and Google Classroom. They are scheduled to meet on the 28th, and we'll get a chance to review preschool and kindergarten technology resources. This will be presented by the Early Childhood Department, so I'm sure they're excited to participate in that. Again, we commend the department for all their hard work, and they have put a lot into making learning more accessible for our students. We reviewed a couple of some resolutions, and they're included in the consent agenda. We have a new policy. Let's see if I can find it. One policy has been revised, administrative employment contracts, and then there's a new policy and regulation 5330.05 that's included in the consent agenda, and that's the seizures action plan. That's a new policy. Both of these that we reviewed are on the consent agenda, as I said before. And I think that's everything we covered last week. And thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to item number 9, the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey report. Dr. Caldwell.
Thank you, Madam President. I actually have two big things to report. First, for 30 years, the Educational Services Commission has been trying to gain ownership of the Piscataway Regional Day School that was owned by the state. We've renovated it, and it's one of our major facilities helping students who are with special needs and who are on the spectrum. And the Murphy administration has conveyed the property to the Educational Services Commission so we can really build it so that it serves our students significantly more effectively. So that's actually big news. Even bigger is the Educational Services Commission has been involved with something called the New Jersey Digital Readiness for Learning Assessment Project, NJ DURLAP. And so because we are the largest cooperative purchasing program in the state, we actually buy these high-speed technology services. So why are they important? Because these are the high-speed technology services that every school district and in New Jersey utilizes. Over 795 educational institutions are using that, and we've been able to save 50%. The estimate savings to school districts since it launched several years ago is over $275 million in technology costs. So the Educational Services Commission, the Superintendent, Mark Finkelstein, who used to be president of the New Brunswick Board, who's a product of New Brunswick schools, has really done a great job. But literally saving $275 million in technology costs and serving every school district in the state. So you should be very proud of our Educational Services Commission of New Jersey. That's my report.
Thank you so much, Dr. Caldwell. I'm really glad to learn that the commission has now gotten that building and is going to be able to better serve the students. We know that you guys are doing great work.
Thank you.
So I'll move on to item number 10, which is my report. I'd like to start out with a question that was posed to us by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and it is, well, not a question, it's life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? And today, I would just like to really acknowledge all of the work that our superintendent has been doing ever so diligently in tracking this pandemic on a daily basis, sending out a daily report to keep the entire district abreast of the current pandemic and the status of our district and county as a whole. Dr. really are doing excellent work, and the work that you do is truly commendable in our district for keeping everyone's safety in mind, and I really want to thank you for postponing the start date for in-person instruction to ensure that everyone in our district can remain safe during these times. I would also like to thank all of their board members for their continued of all of the administrators and the work that they do, because we all know that we work so well as a team. And all of the educators that have taken the time during their homerooms to speak to their students about their, to cover the social emotional learning during the home. I can tell you that my own students were able to the discussions that they've had from myself and my husband in the household, just to be able to have these discussions with their teachers and hear their fellow students discuss the riot that happened at the Capitol. And I'm glad to know that our district is playing such a key role in their lives and their development, as far as being so knowledgeable and aware of everything that is happening today. And as far as politics are concerned, tomorrow is Inauguration Day, and Joseph Biden will be inaugurated to lead our nation, and our nation has been through some very challenging things in the last 4 years, especially, and there's been such a divisive culture that I really hope that can start to just change slightly with this new president that's taking office. And another quote from Dr. King says, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." So my thoughts will be with President Biden as he takes office tomorrow, and hope that he and his family can continue to lead our great nation and do great things, because Lord knows we need help here in the United States. And with that being said, Mr. Janarone, I will move on to the public comments. If you could start with the people that have registered to speak.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Solis. We have 5 members of the public here to speak. And the first person that I'll call to speak is Meredith Pitts. Miss Pitts, can you hear me?
Good evening, Board and Dr. Johnson. My name is Meredith Pitts. I'm a teacher at New Brunswick Middle School, and I've been a teacher in New Brunswick Public Schools for the last 21 years. First of all, I just want to thank you for taking into consideration the safety of our students and their families, my family and my coworkers' families, and pushing back the date of the opening. All I'm asking, please, is if you can, the closer it gets to the March opening, is to just continue to look at the data and make sure that that drives your decision on whether it's safe or not to open in March. Thank you. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pitts.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, the next member of the public I'll call on to speak is Miss Linda Stork. Miss Stork.
Yes, hi. I was unmuting myself. Good evening, everybody. I'm not sure if I understood Mr. Spencer to say that the parents are in favor of Lincoln Annex being knocked down and the kids going out to the warehouse and the new school, but that is not the case, with very few exceptions. The parents are not in favor of that. I've talked to a lot of them. But what I wanted to present was more research on this whole idea of having a super mega school in place of apparently 2 neighborhood schools. That's the only reason why I can figure out that the new school is supposed to have, I don't know, the last I heard was 1,200. I can't find any information on the website. Would that be correct, that the new school to replace Lincoln Annex is supposed to have 1,200 students? And that it will be K-8, so I'm thinking maybe Lincoln goes there too, leaving 0 public schools in the entire 5th and 6th wards, which that's a whole different subject. But what I would like to address is this whole idea of having a giant school for kindergarten to 8th graders. So I'm going to quote different research this time, since apparently didn't like my other research. The state of Connecticut actually had research done before they built schools on, what would be school size and what is the relationship between academic achievement and school size. And their research report, this is a summary of all the research written by their research attorney. And she concludes that research on this issue consistently demonstrates that students in small schools, typically less than 300 students for an elementary school and 600 to 700 for a high school, have 1, improved attendance, 2, better grades, 3, higher test scores, 4, increased participation in school and extracurricular activities, 5, dramatically lower dropout rates, and 6, fewer disciplinary problems than schools in large schools, or than the same students had before transferring to a smaller school. These results are especially true for socioeconomically disadvantaged and minority students. So, in addition, she goes on to quote the Matthew Project, which I have quoted to you previously. And then there's an article by Mary Ann Wayward from the Eric Clearinghouse, Current Literature on Small Schools. So this is also a summary, presenting information from many earlier studies on school size. And she finds that these studies all reach the conclusion that in small schools, students, 1, learn more and better, 2, make progress towards graduation, are more satisfied, that was 3, 4, are less likely to drop out. These results are especially true for disadvantaged students who perform far differently in small schools and appear more dependent upon them for success than do more fortunate youngsters. Another study concluded that females, non-white special needs students, whether at risk, gifted, exceptional, or disadvantaged, are all better served by small schools. The state of Wisconsin also did a study and concluded that the relationship between size and performance is negative and large. And then there's a California study that I've quoted before, for urban schools serving high percentages of students in poverty, school size and student performance displayed a negative linear relationship, with student performance best in schools under 200 students. Now, I know we can't have neighborhood schools of under 200, but keeping in mind that the bigger, the worse, it just baffles the mind. A school 50% larger than the one we already have, and to include down to kindergarten.
Ms. Stork, I hate to interrupt. 15 seconds left.
How many seconds? Pardon?
15.
Okay, so yes, so the school will be 50% larger, and also, how could it ever come in at 55 million? Who's going to be on the hook for the rest of the money? Red Chalk cost 51 million years ago for less students. So yeah, we know that can't happen, and where is the rest of the money going to come from? Okay, I know my time's up. Good night.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
You too.
Okay, the next member of the public I'm going to call to the microphone is Charles Crowderville.
Hello, members of the board. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. like to begin with a comment on the Facilities Committee report. I think that someone who wasn't familiar with the circumstances might be misled to believe that you have built a new school, but of course, that's not what's happened. So I would save the congratulatory remarks and the patting yourself on the back until such time as you've actually succeeded in building a new school. What you've done is closed a school and given it away to a developer. So certainly no cause for celebration. And, I just want to point that out for the record that we're still a long way away from replacing that school. But I wanted to talk tonight about the lawsuits that the district is facing and serious concerns I have about your board attorney and how these matters are going to be handled. As you know, I brought a lawsuit against the board in August after you failed to respond to my Oprah request for many, many months. And of course, that lawsuit was resolved favorably in that you were forced to provide the records that were requested, and the judge ruled, I'm pleased to say, in this month that the board will have to pay my costs and my attorney's fees because the board was wrong. And I want to caution the board secretary who's in charge of Oprah compliance that what was happening cannot continue to happen, and you have to improve your responsiveness to Oprah requests, because otherwise more of these things are going to happen. And instead of responding and doing the job that you're tasked with and the job that you took on, now the board has incurred thousands of dollars of expenses and wasted a bunch of time, wasted the court's time, wasted my time, wasted your professionals' time. And I'm just very concerned because I've read in the media and I've seen in the court records that there are two vice principals of the New Brunswick school system who have filed lawsuits over some really disturbing allegations, Michelle Shelton and Renee Edgehill-Smith. These lawsuits, speaking of culturally responsible teaching, they allege that a teacher repeatedly used a racial slur, was captured on video, and that these VPs were retaliated against for taking action. The allegations themselves are disturbing, but I'm concerned about the board's representation and Mr. Hendricks, the way he's behaved over the past year really are a serious cause for concern. Of course, he has, called me a loser who specializes in lies and a first-class jerk, and has just generally behaved poorly at these meetings and revealed his inability to control himself. And if he can't control himself in this setting, when he's up against a serious attorney in a serious case, I am not confident that he'll be able to represent the board effectively. Of course, in my lawsuit, as I mentioned previously, he gave false information to the judge and had to apologize for that. Recently at these meetings, he's made some really curious and strange remarks that were just not true. I don't think that he's in a position to continue as the board's top legal counsel. I know he's paid handsomely for this work, and he should, if he is, the board attorney, he should handle most of the legal matters, but I don't think he's cut out to handle these ones, and I think that it's time for a change. We need better leadership across the board in this city, but certainly in this position, he's been in it a long time, and it appears at least one of these matters has been referred to outside counsel, which is going to cost the board additional funds. And I'm also concerned about the choice of the outside counsel, frankly, the Hoagland firm. I was up against them in a Oprah matter or two different Oprah matters that they lost to me and did, I think, a very poor job of representing the city of New Brunswick. So I'm concerned that, bad lawyers are going to get paid a lot of money to lose these important cases. And ultimately, the board should look at all the cases and actually read the paperwork on them. Don't trust your attorneys to do the right thing here. It appears the administration has a real bad track record with human resources, and dealing with issues. Okay, well, I'll just wrap it up by saying we need better leadership. The people demand it. We're going to get it, and it's time for a change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard, Madam President, I just have to respond to that because there's so much misinformation. One, all our lawsuits that he's referring to, or any employee agreed to sues the board, is turned over to our insurance company. The same thing when he talks to Hoagland's law firm. They're an insurance company hired law firm. We don't hire them. We pay insurance premiums. Those two vice principal lawsuits will be handled by our insurance companies. The attorney's fees will be paid by the insurance companies. So that's where we are. And just in defense of our record custodian, I've been the board attorney for a long time. I've worked with Mr. Janarone. He's had hundreds of open public records requests over the years. We've never been sued. He's always pursues them and answers them in a timely fashion. What happened in this lawsuit, Mr. Radovill's correct, they prevailed, but it was a pandemic-related lawsuit. We couldn't get the records. And when he said, I lied to the court, that, again, a total misrepresentation. What happened, our IT representative made a misrepresentation as to the number of emails, and I apologize to the court for his misstatement. They were he said there were 15,000 or 1,500 of them, and there were only 600. And I corrected it on the record for the court. But to Mr. Janarone's defense, there was a pandemic. He was stuck at home, but the court ruled that we were too long in providing Mr. Radoville with the information. That is correct, and his attorney prevailed and will be awarded an attorney's fee. I've discussed this with board members whether we should appeal it or not. It was my recommendation not to appeal because additional expense, and I would think there's a 50-50 chance of prevailing because the governor's order said you make a reasonable request. But I think the judge felt 6 months was too long a time and was unreasonable, and therefore we did not prevail. But I had to correct the record because a lot of times there's misinformation spread around. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hendricks. We still have two more members of the public to speak. The first one is Miss Danielle Moore. Ms. Moore? Good evening. We can hear you.
With the lunch distributions, and also due to where the past 2 weeks it was giving a free gift card, a MasterCard debit card for each student receiving $99.62. I did advertise it on Facebook, but I do ask Mr. Johnson if he can give a call to the parents once again to advise the parents this is not a trick or anything. That was the same situation with the other EBT card where too many parents didn't take it seriously. So I am asking you if you can notify each parent, please do not throw these cards out. It is a great gift. I thank you on that. Every parent will appreciate it. I do want to say thank you from the Board of Education members who spoke about Mr. Gurrell. He is my cousin. It is a big, hard loss. He was a happy person. He treated all, and I thank all the students on Facebook and other people as well for the condolences. I will start off by talking about school due to where and sports where I say you're taking a chance to having these children go to sports due to where I know I go through it with my son all the time, stress with being in the house all the time. But wow, as of today, it's been over 211,000 cases now with children. It's a situation, and I say you're taking a chance on it. Just like you're not having school, it's not safe to have sports. And I will speak upon about due to where I have to say this is really going to hurt all the students due to where they're not learning the same amount. How some of them probably don't even, they're not even teaching cursive, how to write. This was before COVID, and since fifth grade with this pad with the students. And I really say, sad to say, it's going to affect a lot of students because you're not learning the same. But I will say it's better to be safe than sorry, because even if you do open up in April, I'm not still sending my child back to school due to where what on the news, how people who done had 2 doses of the vaccine still tested positive for COVID-19. This is, you feel that you're on the meeting with on the phone. Like I said, I don't feel it'll be safe. I don't even think New Brunswick will be going back to school due to where our schools are overcrowded. I'm sure a lot of other places may be going, like Holland Park, North Brunswick. That's because their school is smaller. Our schools are way too overcrowded. But like I said, I wouldn't dare send my child back to school. I do thank you for this time where it wasn't an argument about extending school, where the teachers spoke up last time. I'm glad you did choose to do it on your own instead of argument over it. And then the last thing I will say, it is still very disappointing with the Lincoln Annex School, like I said, due to where it was also mentioned at City Council meeting. What if that land is contaminated, which we all know that it is already, saying that nothing to be built there, and how the kids will be at 40 Van Dyke Avenue permanently until another location with land would be available. So like I said, you did take a chance of selling the school first before everything was laid out by a plan. And like I said, as you can see, while the park is gated up over there, the city's paying hundreds and thousands of dollars to change that park to try to stop the buildup over there. They're still picking up people from using drugs. It's a bar just opened there. That's not an area for a school. And like I said, it's very sad that you would even take the chance of it. And wow, I have to say, workers, council member, your children, you took your children out of that, knowing that it's not safe. And like I said, the only reason why you really got through, and you knew why, due to where most of the parents could not speak up, due to where they were too scared because some don't have papers on that. But like I said, you all will regret the danger that you're putting these children in. Like I said, I pass through there every day. I see what it's like: traffic, drugs, sexual harassment. It's all on New Brunswick Police Department. It's all with Robert Wood Johnson Hospital. And you're saying that this is a good idea? No, it's not. I've been right about so many things, what the city council can tell you I have, and that's why I do win with a lot of situations going against the city and the county of getting New Brunswick repaired.
15 seconds left.
But like I said, it's sad to see that you really did all this before investigating that everything can go through properly. But like I said, it hurts to see it, but you didn't make a good decision. I can tell you that. That's for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Okay, the last member of the public to speak is Mr. Osorio. Mr. Osorio?
Hello, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, good evening, members of the Board of Education. I got some 2 questions, but I would just start it. I was heard on the Mr. Spencer report about the parents who was interested to knock it down, Lincoln Annex School, and I would like to know how many parents was in favor to that, because I am one of the parents, and I speak with some parents, and most of them they didn't want to sell the Lincoln Annex. So I'm kind of disappointed with his report, because this is only lying. That's the reality. And Mr. Henrik, you were saying that was misinformation with all the lawsuit. I think that was no misinformation. I think the biggest problem was from the beginning when we started. You was planning to sell the Lincoln Annex School. Everybody was saying that will be transparent on this process, and I didn't see no transparency, and that's why all this lawsuit came in, because everybody tried to hide information. Nobody let us know to the parents anything about what happened with the Lincoln to sell. Even up to now, I don't think you guys didn't take any minute to call the parents and let them know the school is already sold. So, and that's why this is all these things happen. And my question, I got some question about since the closing of the Lincoln Annex is done. I would like to know if you guys really gonna do the replacement replace school and the 3 years, what you and you guys say from the beginning.
That is the estimated timeline.
Excuse me?
I said yes, that is the estimated timeline, sir.
Okay. Well, we're gonna be there all the time in the meeting, so make sure it doesn't happen like happened before with the Russia school. And the another question is, I see so many kids they taking out the class because they didn't have the flu shot. Now my question is why they don't let the teacher doesn't let the kids get in to the class, especially when the class is on virtual. I still don't understand first because now the clinic, hospital, everything is like really full, so it's hard for the parents to take the kids and have a flu shot. And what is make a difference, especially when the kids are having a class from their homes?
Unfortunately, sir, that's a state mandate. It's not something that's within our control. Students do need to have the flu shot.
I know, but I understand. But why, if you every district got make their own decision, like if you reopen or don't reopen the school, how can these teams, the small teams like flu shot, it can get how can get affect the class for the kids, especially if they're home, they're studying from home.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but because it's a state mandate, that means that the state is the one that has rule on who needs to have their flu shot to participate in class, whether it's done virtually or not.
Okay. And now the last question what I got for you, I mean for the members of the Board of Education is, since we got the coronavirus vaccine, what is going to happen? The vaccine thing is going to be available for the kids. That's going to be obligatory to have it to go to school, or how that's gonna work? Because I think up to now nobody was talking about this situation. Nobody say nothing to the parents, and I would like to know what is happening with it.
As of right now, the vaccine is not mandatory for anyone.
So when you the New Brunswick district reopen the school, so if that's available for the kids, it's not gonna be obligatory for the kids. That's what you're telling me now.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Osorio. Have a nice evening. That concludes the public portion of the board meeting.
Excuse me, Mr. Janaron?
Yes.
Right now there is not any testing has been done for a vaccine for children under the age of 16. So I think with the oncoming companies that are producing more vaccines, that maybe there will be testing on children. But right now it's 16 years and older for the COVID vaccine. And hopefully tomorrow with the inauguration, the federal government will be able to put in the Defense Protection Act, and maybe more vaccines will be produced. And then the adult population hopefully will be able to get their appointments and get their vaccines done. As a matter of fact, as a retired nurse, I'm going to be signing up to volunteer to give vaccines. So there is a movement right now to get us retired healthcare professionals back and get us giving the vaccines. But right now, there is nothing for anyone under the age of 16. So hopefully in the future there will. Sorry to interrupt, but thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sadowski.
Thank you. And Mrs. Solis, I do have the student representative report. She was having some technical difficulties. If you wish, I could read the student rep report again.
Yes.
Okay, would you like me to do that now before the consent agenda vote?
Yes, Mr. General.
Okay, thank you. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The high school administrator team continues to maintain a business-as-usual structure. Though there is nothing usual about the effects COVID-19 has brought to the district's academic and social school environment. The following is a short list of many programs and offerings that have been established to help us to meet college and personal goals in a virtual and an in-person high school environment. The New Brunswick High School administered the driver's education permit testing on December 15, 2020, and again tonight, January 19, 2021. The high school team invited students from the Health, Science Tech, P-Tech, and the Adult Learning Center to test with the NBHS students. COVID protocol was adhered to at the highest level. Sanitizing stations are in place, social distancing was followed by all staff and students, and face masks were worn by all occupants. Students received immediate feedback as assigned proctors used scanning devices to grade the assessments. On December 18, 2020, school counselors facilitated a Keene University Instant Decision Day information session for students interested in attending Keene. On December 21st, the students met with the Keene University Advisory Committee to present their essays and themselves doing an interview session. Of the 22 students that interviewed with Keene, 11 students received acceptance to Keene, receiving varied monetary scholarships. One was accepted with an offer of a full tuition scholarship. After-school clubs and tutoring programs are taking place in virtual online settings. The active clubs and programs have been meeting during the first semester are the National Honor Society, the senior, junior, sophomore, and freshman class teams, the yearbook, Culinary Arts Club, National Art Honor Society, Art Club, Student Council, Video Club, Peer Leadership, Debate Team, Key Club, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Extended School Day Tutoring Program, Play It Smart, Extended School Day Programs for ESL students, and more. In the high school, we also have a program called Zebra Connect. This program is run by professional high school staff. It's created as a resource for social emotional support for students as well as the staff in the building. Zebra Connect meets once a month. All high school students are invited to attend, contribute to topic-specific issues or conversations that are important to them. During these meetings, students and staff listen and most often support each other's emotional well-being in a safe environment. Zebra Connect is a great platform to speak of our feelings and what we'd like to see in the school. The staff that participate truly listen to what we would like to have take place for us to succeed. Zebra Connect was called to meet on January 7th, the day after the riots took place at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. Dr. Johnson, District Assistant Superintendents, and other central office officials were invited to the program and joined in on the conversation. Ms. Shetty, Ms. Flores, Ms. Nardone, Ms. Arriaga, Ms. Rocha, and Mr. Redler organized the programs, encouraging students to take the lead during discussions, and there was over 80 students in attendance during this meeting. The students were articulate, passionate, and empathetic toward each other as rich conversations developed and inspiring comments were presented. We care, we want to be change makers, and we are change makers. The Accuplacer Testing has been offered to 12th grade students with high school staff proctors in an online format. As of today, approximately 205 students have taken the Accuplacer test. The Accuplacer is a series of tests that evaluates students' skills in reading, writing, and math to help college administrators place them in courses that match their skills. And finally, the NOCTI testing was administered during January in an online proctored structure. That is a National Occupational Competency Testing Institute, and it's an American certifying organization that tests students on their abilities to perform the skills needed in a career. And Kalani is looking forward to the success of the students of New Brunswick High School as we come to the end of the first semester and start of the second semester. And that concludes her report. Thank you.
Rich, may I add to that, Madam President? Yesterday, or on Monday, Mrs. Bird, Stephanie and Natalie Huimbis, Kayla Holman, Yoselin Smellin Vasquez participated in a multi-school Martin Luther King celebration that the students led. There were students from Patterson, students, I think, from Montclair, and several other districts. And the New Brunswick students and the teachers represented us very, very well on Monday. Literally, the students ran everything. So you'd be very, very proud of all the students. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you, Dr. Caldwell, and thank you, Mr. Janarone, for reading her report. It was very thorough. Kalani, if you can hear me right now, thank you. We do appreciate your very thorough report. We'll move on with the agenda. If I could please have a motion to approve resolutions A through R.
So move.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood.
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla.
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis.
Yes.
Mr. Spencer.
Yes.
Ms. Varela. Ms. Varela. Dr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah, I know Ms. Varela is on the line. I have your voted yes for the record, Ms. Varela. So motion is approved.
Thank you. Item number 13, the committee report, Dr. Caldwell.
If you all have the committee report before you, I need a motion to accept the report as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Seawood.
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla.
Yes.
Mr. Shikaitis.
Yes.
Mr. Spencer.
Yes.
Ms. Varela. Ms. Varela. Dr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Here.
So noted, Ms. Varela. Mrs. Solis.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item number 14, the Personnel Committee report, Mr. Ortiz.
Yes, Madam President. The Personnel Report Committee met last Thursday. Copies have been made available to all the members. All I need is a motion to accept the report as amended.
So move.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood.
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla.
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis.
Yes.
Mr. Spencer.
Yes.
Ms. Varela. We'll give her a second. I know her mute is taking longer than normal. Ms. Varela? Dr. Caldwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Solis?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. If I could please have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call. Mr. Ortiz? Mr. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood?
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla?
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes.
Varela? Dr. Caldwell?
Yes.
Here.
Mrs. Solis? Mrs. Solis?
Yes.
Okay. We are adjourned.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Right.
Good night.